Okay, today we're going to learn about how to find the intersection of two lines on a coordinate plane. So what that means is here, for example, I have line A, which is purple, and line B, which is pink. And what I'm trying to find is at what point on the graph do these two lines meet? Or at what point do they intersect? So the way that I find the place of intersection is I mark that point on my graph if they're already graphed for me. I mark that point, and then I find what the coordinate pair is. Now we know that for a coordinate pair, it's my x and y value. To find my x, I see how far I go over on the x-axis, and then to find my y, I see how far I go up or down on the y-axis. So my x value is at, let's see, I count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went over 6. Now I went in the negative direction because I went this way. So I went negative 6. And then I don't go up or down at all from the axis, so I go up or down 0. So my coordinate pair, or the place that the two lines intersect, is negative 6, 0. So I marked the point that they meet at, and then I found my x and y value on my coordinate plane. So that's the note that you should take in the first section. On your paper, you should now be looking at example 1, and we need to write the equations for each line, and then we're going to find the place of intersection on the two lines. And writing the equations is more for a review for our test tomorrow, so we know how to write an equation from a graph. The first one I'm going to do is the equation 1, and I'm going to say this line is line A, so we're going to write the equation. On top of where it says equation 1 and equation 2, let's write our form, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So why don't you write that on your paper? Y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Now I'm going to find the y-intercept first because I think that's the easiest part of the equation to do. I'm going to write my outline. Slope plus the y-intercept. Now on my graph I see that line A intersects the y-axis at 3, positive 3. So my y-intercept is 3. And now I need to find my slope. So I'm going to mark this point right here and this point on my line. And starting here, I have to go down 3. So my change in y for my slope, change in y over change in x, my change in y is negative 3. Then I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. So my change in x is 4. So my slope is negative 3 over 4. Change in y over change in x, negative 3/4. Now I can see that that line is negative because in the direction that I read, if I were walking, all of a sudden I hit the line, I'd be going down. So my slope is negative. And now we're going to write the equation for line B. So here's line B. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the outline of my equation, the slope, and the y-intercept. Okay, and I'm going to look for where this line intersects the y-axis, which it looks like is at 3 as well. My y-intercept is 3. And to find my slope, I'm going to mark 2 points on my line, this one and this one. From the first one, I need to go up 3, so my change in y is 3, and over 2, so my change in x is 2. I went up and to the right. Those are both positive changes, and if you can see, if I was walking and I hit my line, I would start going up, so it's positive. So my slope is 3 over 2. So I have an equation for each line. Now to find where they intersect, I'm going to trace each line. So let's do line A in purple. I'm going to trace line A. And then I'm going to trace line B. And I'm going to find where the purple and the pink hit each other, where they intersect each other. And that would be right here. Right here is where they intersect. And I need to find out what point that is. So in my ordered pair, I have my x and my y. In the x direction, this way and this way, as you can see, I didn't go over at all from my origin. I didn't go to the right or to the left. I went straight up, so I didn't go to the right or the left, so my x is 0. And then I went up, so for my y, I went up 1, 2, 3. So my y value is 3. And what do y'all notice about this point right here? Does it look like a y-intercept? When the x is 0, the y value is the y-intercept, so it looks like these two equations actually share a y-intercept, which won't happen all the time, but we could have known that the place of intersection for these two would be at 0, 3 because that is their y-intercept, and they actually cross at the y-intercept. Okay, so we're going to do example 2. Now example 2, I'm going to do a tiny bit differently. We're going to find the place that the two lines intersect, and then I want you to write the equation on your own for example 2, and you can do that after we find the intersection. So why don't we say that this line is line 1, and this line is line 2. Okay, and we're going to find the place that they intersect, so I'm going to trace line 2. Well, I was a tiny bit off there, and I'm going to trace line 1. And the place where the pink and the blue meet is their place of intersection, which is right here. Okay, so I need to look from my origin, which is always where I start when I'm plotting points. I need to figure out what my x and my y value is for my ordered pair. My x and my y. So starting here, for my x value, I had to go back 1. When I go back 1, I'm going in the negative direction, so my x value is -1. And then I need to go down 1. When I go down, that's also in the negative direction, so -1. So the ordered pair that both of my lines go through is -1, -1, or when x is -1, y is -1. And I want you guys to write the two equations, the equation for each of the lines in example 2. Okay, what we're going to do now, and this is on the back of your notes, is we are going to find the intersection of the two lines on a calculator. So I'm going to give you the first equation. So the equation is y equals 2x minus 4. Y equals 2x minus 4. So write that on the equation line 1. And the way we're going to graph it, which we've learned a little bit before, is you are going to click on your y equals key on your calculator. So do that. And it'll bring up sections for y1, y2 that you can put your equations in, and it says equals. It already has the y and the equals. So for the first equation, we're going to put it in y1. It already has the y and the equals, so we're going to type in 2x, and remember our x key, 2x minus 4. Remember our minus is this sign. It's the operation sign, not the negative. Minus 4. 2x minus 4. And we're going to put that in our y equals. Now once we have that typed in our y equals, we are going to click the graph key. Okay, and that's right here. We're going to click graph, and it should pull up a coordinate plane with the graph of our line. Now if it doesn't show up, we're going to write down 3 things we can do in case our line doesn't show up. The first thing we can do if our line doesn't show up is we can click our zoom key, and we can go down to zoom standard and click enter. Zoom standard will zoom out until you can see the exact line that you graphed. Now if that doesn't work, the second thing we can do, if it says there's an error, then when you're in your y equals, make sure that the 3 plots that it says on the top, plot 1, plot 2, and plot 3, make sure that those are not highlighted. If one of them is highlighted, you need to go up, use your up arrow, go up and re-click that plot and make sure that it is not highlighted. So plots not highlighted. Make sure that all 3 of them are clear. They should not have a highlighting on them or a gray box on top of them. So make sure that those are not highlighted. And then the last thing that we can do, we can make sure that in our y equals, the equal signs for each y, the equal sign for the y that we're using, where we typed in our equation, we can try and highlight the equal sign by going to the equal sign and clicking on it and highlight it. And that should tell the calculator this is the one I want you to graph. So highlight equal sign. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to get the second equation. The second equation is y equals 3x plus 5. And I'm going to click on my y equals key, and I'm going to put this in that second y, or y2. So y1 had your first equation, which was 2x minus 4. Now, right underneath that, I'm going to type in 3x plus 5. 3x plus 5. So these are the two that I have written in my y equals. Okay, now I'm going to click graph, and both of my lines should come up on my graph. They should both be graphed. So let's see. If my coordinate plane looks like this, then y equals 2x minus 4 should be going through right here. Should look like this, the first one, and then y equals 3x plus 5 should look like this. Okay, so I have 2 lines that are on my graph, and there's actually a way to find their exact intersection on the graph. So what we're going to click, and it shows on your paper, is you click second. Let me erase this so you can see. Click the second key, the blue key, and click calc, which is also trace. It's right here. Second calc, or second trace. And then go down to number 5, which is intersect, because you're trying to find where they intersect. Cannot spell that. Intersect. Go down to intersect and click enter, and it'll give you the option. The first thing it says is, do you want the first curve? No, we don't want a curve because it's a straight line. So I'm going to hit enter again to get out of it. I'm going to hit enter again, and it'll say second curve. Hit enter again. You don't want that. It'll say guess. Do we want our calculator guessing what the intersection is? No, so hit enter again, and it will say intersection, and it'll give you an x and a y value. When it gives you the x and the y value, that is your coordinate pair that I want you to put in that ordered pair.